Yeah, and Rishi Dhawan is bowling well.
If you say so.
He is. I am watching the games.
Who does he play for? Gujarat. Rising Pune, Mumbai Ankles. Sunrisers Stubbs. Make up team names now.
TV umpire to director, we have a player review. Can we rock and roll, please?
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Bits and Pieces. This is the Thaikudam Bridge of podcasts. We have an eclectic band of various different members whom you cannot name offhand, but we somehow come together on stage and perform every week. Like Thaikudam Bridge, we could have had a better name for this podcast, but now it's too late to change it because this is episode 18 and we are legally an official citizen now with an Aadhaar card or something like that. Clearly, the levels of preparation on this podcast keep going down with every episode. So joining me today, Tony, is the chance pe glance of the cricket and app world. Nitin Sundar, say hi.
Hey, hi Tony. We are glad to be 18 episodes old, which means we are half a Yuvraj or 75% of a Carlos Brathwaite. Remember the name, Bits and Pieces.
Amazing. Also joining us all the way from the US, he speaks Tamil, Telugu, Hindi and English also, I'm guessing. He's the polyglot of this podcast. Say hi, Kurt, and share your Cartesian coordinates with us.
Hi everyone. Atra, Watra. Anyway, 18 is, as I was just saying before the podcast, 18 is a number that we have hit, but people like Shahid Afridi and Rashid Khan will probably never hit. But now we are old enough to retire and unretire.
Yeah, so I've pretty much come into this podcast like Ashwin at number 3 for RR without a plan at all. I've just been literally told that we have to start the episode. So Kaus, I don't actually have a intro for you right now. You ran out of everything. So why don't you just say hi?
Kaus is actually 18 years old, so that's a strong intro.
It's my birthday tomorrow. So so we're kind of like the way I would look at it is like we are now, the podcast is not legal drinking age, but I mean it's about time considering how much of the IPL we had to sit through. Like finally we can like have a beer, not a beer or 10, and like put up with it finally in like a reasonable headspace or something. My God, what a like we did 83 last week. All right, but that did not mean IPL did not happen, and now the past 2 weeks has been such a blur. Like, I genuinely can't tell one game from the other at this point. Like, I thought KL Rahul has, what, 1 or 2 ducks or something. Turns out he has 3 already this season.
Are you kidding me? And
Including
he's the
a diamond
second,
duck.
And he's the second highest run scorer.
That's the thing. I thought, okay, he had a duck last year. I don't think, like, no, they've all my IPL memories have combined to become this one random fog that I refer to for jokes now.
but basically, KL Rahul's ducks is what you remember.
I was watching the game yesterday, to be very fair. I was watching the game yesterday.
I actually think this is KL Rahul's way of helping the rhinos in Kaziranga. Is giving them some more companions. So he's collecting ducks to basically introduce to Kaziranga.
But they are top of the table apparently. Anyway, so I am here to speak about MasterChef Australia season 13, which is what I've been watching while the IPL is going on. So this is going to be one of those episodes. But I think we should start with basically the stuff that is easier to follow, which is off the IPL field, is what I'd like to call Tristan with Destiny. So Tristan Stubbs woke up one day and was pleasantly surprised to see Mumbai Indians has called him up for 20 lakhs. This happened after Timel Mills, how do you say it? Mr. Mills was out injured. Okay, so what happened was basically...
No. Mr. Mills was told he is out injured.
Yeah, correct. That's what. Some news outlet put out a tweet saying Timel Mills is out of the IPL season with an ankle injury. To which Timel Mills quote tweeted saying, "What the hell are you talking about? I am perfectly fine." And a day later, Mumbai Indians made him delete that tweet and called up Tristan Stubbs. Okay, and basically Tristan Stubbs is absolutely shocked that now he is basically prakat ho gayed from somewhere. And the Cricinfo article says about this thing that Timel Mills is out with an ankle injury for the rest of the IPL season, which is the only way you can bring in a new player. But it is understood the injury is a minor one and he's expected to be fit for Sussex's first T20 Blast game on May 26th. Let us note that on May 26th, the IPL is still going on. So he's fit enough to play the T20 Blast, but not the IPL. And Tristan Stubbs is it.
This makes Timal Mills the new Surya Kumar Yadav, right? Back in 2011 or 2012, I remember when Mumbai Indians back then had Surya Kumar Yadav and claimed that he was injured and got special allowance to play 5 overseas players in the Champions League. And later somebody found out that Surya Kumar Yadav was playing in some other domestic tournament and smashing a lot of runs after being reported as injured. So, yeah, this is quite interesting. Did they stub his ankle? What exactly happened?
They, you know what they wanted to do, right? They wanted to get a substitute player on the field.
Not a boons for Mills, eh?
The boons. The Hindu readers of the Bits and Pieces podcast are related with that reference. Well. So guys, what else do we talk about?
No. Firstly, tell me one thing. I have one question, right? And I'm still reacting to the earlier point. KL Rahul has 3 ducks. And he's also the second highest run scorer of the season so far. Is that right?
You know who the third highest run scorer is?
Hardik
Shikadawa.
Hardik Pandya.
Shikadawa.
Hardik Pandya. Shikadawa.
Shikadawa.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not. Oh,
It's not.
It has to be Joss Butler, KL Rahul, and
Yeah,
then
Josh Butler, KL
Sanju
Rahul.
Samson.
Yeah,
Sanju Samson.
Nay, not Sanju Samson.
David Warner.
No.
it's not David Warner. Okay, so as of yesterday, before Punjab played, the third highest run scorer was Abhishek Sharma.
I think he's gone down. He's gone down now.
Yeah, he's gone down now because Shikhar Dhawan played. I think he scored like some 10 odd runs yesterday or something. So he went up a little bit. But 3-4 players had the same number of runs as Abhishek Sharma. He just played 1 innings less or something. Like that's and the gap between the top 3, it's like 150 runs each.
wow.
Like
Yeah.
Josh Butler is already at 600. KL Rahul is at 450 odd. This guy is at like some 320 or something. Like it's just
Nobody's scoring any runs basically.
nobody's doing anything. Nobody wants. What I realized is, apart from Josh Butler and Yuzvendra Chahal, nobody wants to play the IPL.
What about Kuldeep Yadav though? He's also giving it a go.
He'll only play against KKR. He's covered screwed his ex-team twice. He's taken 4 wicket hauls twice in the season, both against the team that dropped him. This IPL is like groundhog season for me. I have not followed for the first time in my life. I'm still trying to come to terms with it. Maybe this is old age, right? Like that butterfly meme. Is this what old age is? I don't know. I've just not been following the IPL, and I've been following it very closely every year so far, right? This time I'm still, suddenly look at a score sheet. Like Ravi Bishnoi is playing. Oh, okay. Which team does Ravi Bishnoi play for? Does he play for Gujarat Lions? Oh shit, Gujarat Lions doesn't exist. No, he plays for some other team. Punjab Super Giants. That team never existed. I'm just making up team names now. KL Rahul, what does he play for? I remember we made a lot of fun of KL Rahul and double scales and all of that. And hence, I remember he's playing for one of the 2 new teams. But when I think of KL Rahul, I still think of him playing for Punjab or for RCB or one of those red outfits where he is scoring a lot of runs and the team is not doing well. And this just seems very weird this time that he is doing well and his team is also doing well. Maybe he's not doing well. He scored 3 ducks or whatever, right? But the entire season is a blur. Every time I tune in, it looks like Gujarat Titans are chasing some insane number of runs in the last over and they're somehow getting it, except for once when they did not get it. This is pretty much all that I've seen of the IPL. They have won 3 matches or 2 matches by hitting 6s of the last ball, right? And they nearly did it a 3rd time.
Somehow Daniel Sams put the demons of like being smashed for like 35-36 runs by Pat Cummins and bowled an amazing death over. So full comeback has happened. Mumbai celebrated like they have won the tournament. Turns out it's only the 2nd match that they have won all season. Right? And like
meanwhile Cummins has been dropped. Sams is back and all the analysis like, oh, Sams, what he did differently. He did nothing differently. He bowled slow donkey drop, off cutters outside the off stump, and guys, it was David Miller. We spoke about this. David Miller.
David Miller is just. By the way, this is candidate number 1 for our Jinx or Ajinx segment, right? So I think we are going to talk him up at this point because there's no other direction that David Miller can go given what he's been doing. But yes, please, Nitin, go go ahead with what we talked about with David Miller.
Oh yeah, we did note in the past that David Miller has not hit consecutive sixes for a very long period of time in his life, and then of course promptly he came on and won that game by hitting a few sixes, right? But yes, the tide has turned, and literally Daniel Sams bowling those donkey drops outside off stump. Pat Cummins literally having a net, I think, a couple of weeks back and smashing him for, I don't know, God knows how many runs. And he was bowling exactly that same stuff again, right, to David Miller, and it's just one of those things. By the way, I read this morning that Chennai Super Kings can still make the playoffs, which is the most amazing fact, right? The only thing they need to do, actually two things. I don't know which one is more unlikely. Chennai Super Kings needs to win all their games, but more importantly, Mumbai Indians needs to win all their games, except for their game against Chennai Super Kings, and then CSK will once again be in the playoffs.
Mumbai was mathematically in the playoff till yesterday when Rajasthan beat Punjab. So,
but they've spiritually not been in the playoff for a very long time.
I just want to say I've been sitting very quietly and listening to Nitin basically start 5 minutes ago by saying I've not followed this IPL at all, and then a full monologue. He's like that guy when we used to be in school. This guy will come out. He'll be like, "Yaar, the exam was so bad. It was so tough." Blah blah.
मैं कुछ पढ़ाई नहीं किया है. I have not done anything. मैं कुछ पढ़ाई नहीं. मैं fail हो रहा है.
He'll talk about the paper for 10 minutes, and then you'll realize that you're getting a fucked up like 60 or 70 out of 100 because of this guy.
Dude, that's so not true. That's so not true.
But if you want to switch it around, right? So basically, 2 Gujarat games ago, Hardik Pandya ended up winning the toss. All right. I mean, we're just talking about how this IPL has become so blah that we can't tell one game apart from the other. I think the teams have been briefed about this, right? And they're you need to do something different to attract audiences or to make the table interesting. Because Hardik Pandya wins the toss. Okay, let's keep in mind Gujarat are not guaranteed qualifiers, by the way, yet. Right? There are still multiple teams on, there are 16, 12, 12, 1. I think one is on 14 or something. So the thing is, Gujarat needs to go past 20 to guarantee their qualification in the top 2 at the very least. Alright, so they're just at the top of the table. This was before yesterday's game, where Lucknow are now the table toppers. So Pandya wins the toss and he decides to bat first. Alright, in an evening game where the dew is going to screw everything up because his reason is we want to experiment and put ourselves coming back from different positions. Again, taking innovations forward, right? You are not even qualified. I mean, very fair. You do experimenting when you know your thing is booked at the end. So Pandya's not only manifested the thought that he's qualified, he is so far ahead of the 8 ball that he's you know what? We need to invent situations where we can come back from the game, right?
The rest of the teams are playing so badly that I think he's fairly sure that he will still make the playoffs.
No, they lost the game. That's the thing. So Mayank Agarwal is sitting in the back. He's smiling. What, you chose to bat first or what? Okay, good for me. There's dew coming in. You don't want to do it. He was genuinely laughing at the toss. Okay, this is 2 very easy points. They won it very easily. Later on, David Miller is interviewed in the post-match press or something. He's like, I don't know why we chose to bat first. In hindsight, we still have games to go, whatever. So the thing is, because they have given away 2 very easy points, they had to win the game against Bombay, right? Which they also ended up losing. That's what I'm trying to has a brief come down from the powers that be that listen, let's make this interesting because nobody's watching this anymore. So I think that's also the reason behind why Dhoni was brought back, right? It's we need ratings are falling. Jadeja half the time only repeats one line in post-match pressers. If I won the toss, I'd have opted to bowl first. That's all he's been saying for 7 or 8 games. So they brought Dhoni also back. I think we are seeing that happen in a way, right? Bombay is winning games again. Chennai has the poor graphics guy who has created every single graphic before the season doesn't have to stress anymore. Yeah. Dhoni is back, right? But poor fellow must have worked the whole 6-7 games because I had to put Jadeja's cutout in every single thing, and now it's gone back to Dhoni.
A brief has changed again.
Agencies are tearing their hair out. But let me just refer back to some interesting non-cricket things that we referenced on Bits and Pieces a while back, which is Dhoni's spectacular ad including a moving vehicle. which has been banned. No, it's not the train ad, which has been banned for making no
the
logical
bus
sense.
ad. Yes.
This is basically they've said, Dhoni, you cannot park the bus anymore. We need some action. So they've basically gone ahead and banned the ad where Dhoni is seen parking the bus in the middle of the road, and this is an actual real thing that happened. So I think he's now supposed to take over on the cricket field as well, which is clearly not happening. So anything to make the IPL interesting, which it currently isn't, given how many of us are watching the IPL right
This, by the way, is a sign of things to come. Next year, Dhoni is going to be the coach, right? And as Shane Warne famously said, the coach's job is to be in the team bus or whatever, right? Ferry the team to and fro. Also, Hardik being so confident about making the playoffs is, diametrically opposite to what happened many years back when I was watching the IPL. I think it was 2010, right? And that's the year CSK came from dead to win the IPL, right? They were going through a horrible run. I think 10 games in, they were close to the bottom of the table. I think they had lost 3 or 4 consecutive games. And in one of those games, after the match, Dhoni basically said, the rest of the season for us is about, trying out new players, prepping for next season and all of that. So mathematically, there was a possibility they'll make it here. No, all that won't happen. But eventually, they went on and won the tournament. So, which is quite the opposite of Hardik's situation right now.
There were these 4 or 5 amazing catches that have taken place, but that's it. We have 53 games in. There have only been 4 or 5 good catches. I know for a fact, when I was watching the IPL regularly even last year, you had a lot of good highlight reels. I can't tell Josh Butler's hundreds apart. KL Rahul, you're calling him you're not calling him. He is the second highest run scorer, but he's scored majority of his runs against Bombay. He's got 200s against Mumbai.
and all his runs in Mumbai. Yeah, that's it.
It's just, but I'll tell you what, in spite of all of this, on the top right hand side, when you see the Hotstar the count, right, the number of people watching the game, it's still at least 10 times more than anybody who bothered watching Test cricket.
Yeah,
whole lot more.
Part.
Is that really the sad part? This is entertaining. I think the IPL is transitioning from memorable games to one of those reality TV things where you can just watch a crap ton of it and forget about what's happening at that moment.
It's that's the whole point of the damn thing. I've been listening to you and Nitin go on and on about as if this is India Australia Test series. The whole point of the damn thing is 3 hours in the night or morning, depending on where in the world you are. Wake up, watch the damn thing, forget about it even before it ends. What deeper meaning are you guys looking
exactly
for?
How many people even remember Tewatia hit 2 sixes to win a game 2 weeks back or something, right? Nobody does.
Oh, not in Sharjah. Okay, cool.
Exactly.
Forget that, right? That's extended memory. But yeah, it's not like we've had exciting finishes. Rashid Khan hit a 6 last ball and won a match. Right? Dhoni won a game.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's not fair to say that I've not been following the IPL at all. I follow it exactly 30 minutes before the match starts because of Fantasy League, of which I should say I am in the top 10,000 of 2 million. So 99.6 percentile or something.
What I am flexing happening here, percentile is high.
By which I mean exactly one fan of Bits and Pieces podcast has asked why we don't have a Fantasy League for Bits and Pieces fans to follow. So we'll put out one link in the show notes, but let it be said there's exactly one out of us who's actually playing the Fantasy League. But yeah, that's literally what I watch for. The first 5 minutes to see the team lineup and probably the last 4 overs of every match.
I was the last 2 overs.
As an aside, I should say that there is a lot of responsibility on this poor one fan of Bits and Pieces, because sometimes that one fan is supposed to get pissed off when we pick on CSK, when we pick on Mumbai Indians, when we pick on SRH. Now when we pick on Fantasy, when we jinx some team, this one fan has to do all these things. So,
he's the Andre Russell of our KKR team. That is this podcast. Is basically a legend.
Have you watched KKR this season? Have you watched KKR this season? Are you sure the reference holds up?
No, I mean, they're so horrible, but Andre Russell is the one guy who can turn it around.
I tuned in to try to watch KKR yesterday, and it didn't last very long. So
yeah, that game ended very fast, right?
Not fast enough.
No, I definitely remember there was some KKR game. So as you said,
yesterday it ended in 14 hours. So you have your alarm set for the 16th over by the time the match got over.
I have my alarm set for the 18th over, right? So that's when I opened cricket for and see, okay, this is getting close. This game is close. It's not getting close.
Things have gotten so bad that when you have such games, what I look forward to is how stressed out brand managers try to bring in their final over plugs like before the 14th, 15th over. So Swiggy has sponsored the last 5 overs, right? It's called the Swiggy Instamat top 5, whatever. There have been like 3 or 4 matches where everybody knows the match is ending in like the 11th or 12th over or something. So very quickly, like someone like screams in Bishi's ear or Pommy's ear saying, listen, you have to say the Swiggy thing right now, otherwise we lose money. So then that guy's like, so even though the match is ending soon and it doesn't look like we're going to get to the 16th over, please order your cold drinks and whatever.
What an amazing chase from Mumbai. They've closed the game before the Swiggy Instamart past 5 overs.
Actually, so that's an interesting thing. So one thing that I was thinking about was along these lines, right? That one change that I've noticed this season seems to be that they're no longer just shilling for the actual brand. They're actually saying out the whole, cringy brand tagline, along with whoever it is, whether it's Harsha, whether it's Bishi, everybody, right? And I'm wondering if that's something where the director actually has to feed them the whole thing in their ear. They have to be like, bro, please, now repeat after me. You have to say the whole tagline. It's quite interesting.
But these new sponsors all we'll forget, man. 3-6 months down the line. But we will never forget DLF Maximums.
DLF Maximum. I was just thinking that. I was like, the only memorable one is the DLF Maximum.
Carbon Kamal, whatever.
Carbon Kamal catch.
Carbon Kamal catch. Yeah. Oh. Man, now it's gotten to the point where we are getting nostalgic for like the old product shells from the IPL. Jesus.
for the good old extra innings days.
I know. Those were the days when we were shilling for Carbon Kamal.
DAZD. Those were the days.
Yeah. Anda halatla we were shilling for Carbon Kamal.
I would say like seeing or hearing rather Swan, Peterson and Pommy in one commentary box is hilarious. Like there are moments where like you realize they have put Murli Karthik, Sunny Gavaskar and Harsha Bhogle in one set, by which but the thing is, it's not going to be more than 10 minutes. So you're like, okay, you can put up with it because the next set of commentary people are going to be good. Right. So like we have moments like that. Tamil commentary had like this amazing moment where they have allowed Cheeka to just go off about what's happening. Okay. And
I don't think anybody allows Cheeka to do anything. Cheeka does it and then you spin a story after that. This is like saying Kapil Dev allowed Cheeka to go after the West Indies bowling in the final. No, nobody allows him to do it. He just does it, yeah.
Eat dosa, tongue want more.
so basically whenever we have discussed this, right, whenever a 6 is hit or something and it is in the vicinity of the car, you have to mention that it is going to the Kaziranga National Park or something, and in full excitement Cheeka says rhinos in Hasaranga National Park are going to be very happy or something, and you can hear like slight chuckles from like the other commentators, and they immediately correct it. Like I get a slip of tongue happening, like it's fine, I can buy that, but it's just at that moment you're just like, is nobody bothered?
But there is actually a serious point there, which is the Tamil commentary is good precisely because it is self-aware, right? Because if something like this happens, they are more than happy to sort of break that fourth wall and sort of, be like, Cheeka, what the hell are you saying, right? Or the RJ Balaji does this all the time, all the others do this all the time. I cannot imagine like someone like Murli Karthik, having the self-awareness to basically say, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, right? English commentary takes itself too seriously, I feel. Like
yeah, exactly.
Like whereas when you even listen to Hindi or Tamil commentary at some level, exactly. Like they're there. So when they basically get the same feed that everybody else gets, right? So you have at like the 3rd or 4th over, you have that Kredka banner. Okay, then the Seat tire strategic timeout or whatever. So when you hear these commentary plugs even in Hindi, like they're like, oh yeah, we have to talk about cred right now. Do you know what the tagline is? I don't know what the tagline is. Oh, the talk has gone. Okay, fine, let's talk about the game now. Like it's very
it's very tongue in cheek. It's the class monitor is not watching, and we know that we are not being watched. So we are like last benchers, right? That's what the Tamil commentary is. I guess the other vernacular commentaries also.
Yeah, but it's just Murli Karthik being Murli Karthik, right? Like KP's, Kevin Peterson's first match in commentary, Murli Karthik was saying something like, why it is important for the cosmic alliance to be good for bowlers to have a nice day or something. And Kevin Peterson just burst out laughing, okay? It's like, cosmic alliance, what crap are you talking? talking about before he suddenly realized he's part of the IPL English commentary panel and then sobered down immediately. So Murli Karthik had an explanation for Cosmic Alliance as well. So yeah, I think.
No, but I will cut him some slack though. I'm being very honest. So yesterday, KKR have apparently chopped and changed the lineup like some 22 times this season. They have a squad of 25 players. Okay, and 22, 23 different people have come in over the last couple of days because they don't know what their winning combination is.
It's tough too when you're not winning. But
Yeah, so to the point of view, Murli Karthik got confused, but he got confused with other players from other teams.
that's like me, dude.
Yeah, so basically, Harshit Rana was in the 11 and he's a pace bowler. And when he missed his line, he says Harshal Patel on air. Okay. To which I'm like, no, the thing is, that's the thing, because English commentary takes itself so seriously, nobody just comes in saying, bro, are you not watching the games? Do you not know what's happening? So he can't say that. So someone like KP has to just overcut it and oh, I'm sure you mean it's Harshit Rana, right? Whatever. It's not
No, I'm talking about the Cosmic Alliance, dude.
Double down on it.
But Murli Karthik is forever team chokers, right? Which is what he wears around his
the dog
neck.
chain he wears. I like Kaustubh's strategy though. Just like Dhoni is playing out the tough bowler, he plays out Rashid Khan because he knows that weaker bowler will come later. He plays out the bad commentary panels, knowing okay, good commentary panel is coming later. I will listen to that.
Yeah, are we genuinely out of IPL?
No, we have to talk.
No, we're never out.
We're never out, dude. Yeah. We have to talk about the best batsman of the week, which happens to be Cheteshwar Pujara. 4 centuries in 4 innings in county cricket.
Yes.
And he uppercut Shaheen Shah Afridi, I believe.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I think they're just making up stuff. We thought the IPL is fully made up, but now it looks like county cricket is also, hey, let's put some masala. Nobody's watching county cricket, we'll just make up stuff.
Listen, there were 2 sixes in the innings, okay, of, I think he's played for Sussex, right? There are 2 innings overall.
Yeah.
He has hit both sixes.
Yeah.
That's insane, dude.
It's county cricket is absurd at this point. You have Ben Stokes smashing 100 of 60 odd balls. Haris Rauf takes a 5-4 and then injures himself, so he can't play anymore. You have Rizwan and Pujara in the same team.
So you have high strike rates in the county game, and you have high control percentages from Kohli and Rohit Sharma in the IPL, and not enough runs being scored fast. That formats are just switching, man. This is a Cosmic Alliance, guys.
No, Pujara has scored 400s or something for Sussex now, which is
2 double hundreds, उसमें से 2 double hundreds.
Yeah. And apparently, the county season is just starting or whatever. I have no idea. But basically, he's going to break all records there unless we play him in that one-off test in England.
No, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say slyly they should. When is the one-off test? Is in June sometime, right? Slyly they should just transition it off so that he still thinks it's a county match. Don't even tell him it's an international fixture. Just push him into the thing so that he treats it like a county match.
It's very village cricket though. If you watch it, everyone is being tonked around. Anyone of any slight level of international exposure is just smashing these bowlers around anything.
That's because you're watching the highlights.
I think Kaus has basically got spoiled by the IPL. He's like, who's on commentary? Oh, Murli Karthik. Let me just fast forward. So he's like, who's batting? Oh, okay. Let me just fast forward. I think. Yeah.
No, but roles have reversed, right? You expect sixes in the IPL instead. Liam Livingston hit this. There was one absolutely boring game. Okay, I think it's the Gujarat game only. All right, which is dragging, and I think Liam Livingston gets bored in the middle of it. He's in the pitch and he's like, I want to go home. I think that's what he thought. So he just smashes Shami for 3 sixes, and 1 6 was so huge.
The massive 6.
Yeah, it was a great 6. I think 117 meter 6, one of the biggest sixes in the IPL, right? But it did not deserve the hype that the commentators gave. I'm just being very honest here.
Right.
Okay, you have KP, Murli and Graham Swan in the commentary, and they pretended to fall off their chair when in reality I think even they were like, fuck, we can book the Uber to go home now. He has finished the game. Right? So you have that in a random 6 being hyped up here, whereas I just happened to switch. It's on YouTube, the entire county cricket, the county championship. You can watch it there. Randomly Pujara is uppercutting Shaheen Shah Afridi for a 6 or something, and I'm what is happening here? It's just I don't know, cricket has gone mad.
I should set an 18th over alert for county cricket, looks like.
But in all fairness, I think there is more tactics and skill going on in the IPL than we give it credit for, because I happened to watch the last 4 overs of the Punjab innings yesterday against Rajasthan Royals, and Prasidh Krishna finished with figures of 4 overs, 1 for 48, but there was some really entertaining cricket because Livingston and Jitesh Bhai were at the crease, and basically Prasidh Krishna decided to go around the wicket and bowl wide of the off stump, packing the field on the off stump, right? And he did well for 3 balls till he bowled a no ball, and then basically free hits and all of those things happened. And Liam Livingston, next over, he knows what Prasidh Krishna is going to do, so he stands on the 7th stump. Now Prasidh Krishna goes up to the umpire and asks him, where exactly can I bowl? Okay, and then Ashwin quickly runs up, and Harsha is saying Ashwin will now tell them, according to rule number 19 subclause 2, this is exactly where he can bowl it. Okay, so
the crease belongs to Ashwin.
Yeah, so he bowled one wide which didn't get called. He bowled one wider which did get called. Then he overcorrected and Livingston hit him out for a 6. And then Prasidh Krishna goes over the wicket again, and Liam Livingston just chapati shots him behind the stumps for a 4. So now he comes around the wicket again and finally nails a Yorker on middle stump, and obviously Livingston is somewhere close to the tram line on the offside and gets bowled, right? So, but pretty interesting micro moments happening, I'm guessing, at various points in time. Just that no one's paying attention, dude.
No, there was also, I forget which game, but there was also that game, right, where the Sanju Samson thing with the wides, right? They kept bowling the wide, and then one was called, one wasn't called. Then Sanju Samson got all irritated. He took that god awful review because he was like, I don't want this to be called a wide. So yeah, no, those passages are very interesting. I agree, but also Tony, I suspect the only reason we're seeing these is because it's between overs 18 and 20. Otherwise, we would have missed.
Yeah, this is. I mean, I think they should just play 20 overs of 18 to 20 over.
Yeah, exactly. I was wondering how to frame that, but yeah, Tony figured it out. Basically, start the match in the 18th over, but play 20 overs after that. Yeah.
Let's play 20 super overs or something. We've not had a super over yet in this IPL, right?
That's true.
Because the teams don't want it to go for that long. They're like, let's put it out of misery. It's okay. Yeah,
let's just go. Who is having the worst IPL of, who's having the worst IPL?
Ravindra Jadeja, dude. Like,
fair. Yeah, Jadeja.
Yeah, I mean, the poor guy is just getting completely, by his own team. Like,
yeah,
he's getting
Jadeja
done by his own team.
Absolutely, right. And Varun Iyer. Sorry, Venkatesh Iyer. I'm making up names also. Varun Iyer.
It's probably Mumbai's 30th player in a 24-man squad who is also played by now because they've got 10 players out injured.
No, but both Venkatesh Iyer and Varun Chakravarti were retained, right, for multi-crore deals, and both of them won't even make it to the current 11.
They're not in the current 11.
Yeah.
I know this because I have both of them in the fantasy game that we are playing. Ravindra Jadeja was my first pick, right, in the draft that we did. Venkatesh Iyer was the second pick in my draft, right. I fortunately was still able to pick Rishabh Pant, I think 3rd or 4th. For some reason, he had not yet been taken. And later, I picked up Varun Chakravarti as well. All of these guys are having the most miserable seasons ever, right. Rishabh Pant, okay, he's scoring a few runs, but he's not hit a single 50 this season, I believe.
I think even Shreyas Iyer has had a pretty average IPL.
I would just say Shreyas Iyer has been found out. Fine.
And the funny thing about Punjab is they've got such a power pack lineup that the only person who you can sort of take out of that lineup is Mayank Agarwal at this point, and he has taken himself down the order. Very, very self-aware in that respect, right? But
self-aware.
But basically, Mayank, which captain has had a good IPL except for which captain?
Hardik Pandya, dude.
He started well.
And no, you can see that Hardik Pandya has actually matured as a captain. I think I've ended up seeing more Gujarat games than any other game. So whenever I'm seeing it, it's a tight Gujarat finish and the camera is panning to Hardik all the time, right? He seems to be much more calm, whether he's outside or in the dugout. Mostly he's in the dugout as these games go down to the wire. And he's extracted a lot out of that team, right? He's using Rashid Khan at the right time. He's using himself fairly well and so on. Yeah.
No, but like I think PGK had made this point, I think 2 episodes or 3 episodes ago, right? Like all this, like seeing KL Rahul at the top of the table just solidifies the fact that all this captaincy thing is very post facto. Right? Like as much as everybody knows what my views on his captaincy are, it's like you gave him the national squad. Sans, the only difference in that squad was I think Rohit Sharma was not there. That's it, right? In the ODI series against South Africa.
Oh, don't remind us of that series.
Exactly, right? This guy was captain for all 3 matches, and like what did he do? Like, he could not do anything. Right, he was found out in every single game. The only thing he was like, you know what? I'm captain. I will lead from the front by batting. He will score like run a ball 50s, and then that's not what captaincy is, right? In a way, but then you look at.
We were talking about the best captains in the IPL. How did this become about KL Rahul?
No. So I'm just trying to say when you bring up Hardik Pandya also, right? Like, I mean,
tainted by the same coffee.
That show has ended in a way. I think even everyone.
even that show has ended. The IPL is not it over.
IPL is not ending.
No, I'm just saying. Same way with like, if you want to say Rohit Sharma can lead any team. Like IPL mate, it is not like a big deal when you have like such good bowlers in your arsenal or whatever. He's struggling this year, right? He can't do like what can you do when you're asking him to bowl Unadkat in the death over or bowl Danielson in the death over? Like he's limited by what talent he has, right? He can't do more than that. I feel like it cuts the other way also. KL Rahul is doing brilliantly because that squad is good. It's not like Lucknow have picked pretty well. It's Gujarat Titans also. It's we want to say it's the only fuck up I'd say they had made is they did not know which wicket keeper to pick. But otherwise it's just hitters and gun bowlers in their team. So like captaincy mein what Lockie Ferguson will take first change, Shami will take the new ball. Like it's a very like you will do it. It's not that hard to like think about it, right? Whereas Dhoni now is struggling with the squad, right? It doesn't matter how much of a god he is in cricket, he's genuinely struggling with the squad. Rohit Sharma is struggling. It's all post facto.
No, I partly agree actually. If you look at the teams on paper, right, the ones on top are actually the 3 teams we might have picked at the start of the tournament. I think we all said Rajasthan looks fantastic this season. They're up there. We all said Lucknow has done very well at the auction. They're up there. Gujarat also, right? The one surprise for me is actually Sunrisers. They were surprisingly or shockingly bad to start the season. and after that, they were shockingly good as well.
We have finally come to Sunrisers. I was waiting for like when in the podcast are we actually going to get to Sunrisers, because I have to interject. First of all, talking about captains who have had not a good IPL. I think Kane Williamson, poor guy, is being
he's striking at 80 or something, right? Like I don't even know what he's doing at this point in time, right?
But I think the most satisfying part of last week has been the beautiful fuck you that David Warner gave to Sunrisers.
And you could see that Sunrisers were spooked out by Warner, right? They completely overhauled their bowling lineup apparently to combat Warner, and he was like, screw you guys, I'm going to whack the shit out of you anyway.
But the camera just panning to Kavya with each shot that David Warner struck was like
very, very satisfying. Very satisfying. Yes.
But just to finish on this captaincy note, right? It's not about captaincy per se, but just like captain's performance. So let's just go down the table, right? So MI Rohit Sharma has had a below par batting season. CSK Jadeja has had a below par batting and bowling season. Dhoni has punched above his weight because he's hit 1-6 or something this season. So like way more than expected.
Dhoni has punched above his weight because he's been punching Jadeja's grave. Poor guy.
Tata punched above his weight. Tata punch. Kaziranga.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Wow.
The rhinos in Kasiranga are doing a dance now. Well done. KKR Shreyas Iyer, I don't know if he's going to Australia anymore after this IPL.
Visa cancel.
Punjab Mayank Agarwal should be dropped unless he is the captain as of now. SRH has Kane Williamson, whom we've spoken about. DC Rishabh Pant should be banned for multiple matches except for entertainment value. RCB, guys, how have we not spoken about RCB so far in this?
It's amazing.
podcast?
They are in the playoffs, by the way. At this point of time, the cosmic alliances have ensured that RCB currently are in the top 4. We don't know if that will last by the end of the weekend. But yeah, they're there somehow.
Sanju Samson was decent. He has had a couple of good knocks whenever the team needed
It's
it.
just setting it up for someone else to say it. Thank you. Finally, we arrived at this.
Finally.
Well played, Tony. Well played.
Yeah,
Actually,
but like-
Faf du Plessis has not had a great season, but he had one or two big scores, right?
Yeah, and they won those two
innings,
games.
yeah.
They won those two games. Like it's so. Again, like RCB squad is also pretty good. Like it's one of the more balanced squads that they have right now. And
Their worst player has been Mohammad Siraj, I think, who had a spectacular IPL last time around, but this time he's just bowling like 2 overs and like
Actually,
not getting the ball after that.
At least Siraj has always gone for runs in the IPL. I remember.
No,
he got
last IPL he was spectacular, dude. Like he didn't get any wickets, but he was like superb control and stuff like that.
There was one hat-trick that he got, right, at some point in time. Was that last season? No, I think it was season before last or something.
Yeah, okay.
I just remember Siraj traveling.
At this point, you
all
can
the
just
time.
make up stuff and
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
no, it will be true. If you look far back enough, it will be true. At this point.
It's like monkeys on a typewriter, dude. Everything has happened in the IPL.
Yeah, we can like retrofit stats here. We don't even have. We can make up something here, and we can find some like defense later. Like build it and they will come types.
Rishi Dhawan's mask, right, obviously looks a little unusual. And then we all went and found out why exactly he's wearing it. It's actually a slightly scary story. He got hit on the face and he's recovering from fairly painful trauma, and hence this is to prevent the chance of a repeat injury happening. I was just thinking about this, guys. So bats these days are so big. Batsmen are so aggressive. They're smashing the ball back at rapid pace at these bowlers.
Yeah. Faster than Swiggy's deliveries.
Faster than Swiggy's deliveries. How are bowlers not actually wearing headgear or any sort of protective gear? I would imagine that it should be de rigueur in the sport now, right? For given where cricket is and given how aggressive batsmen are. You have umpires holding, a protractor or something sometimes to protect themselves. And umpires are, they are further away from the batsman and they're not moving all over the place. A bowler in his follow through, especially a fast bowler, is very close to the batsman. Is completely out of control of his own body. We've seen they struggle to take return catches, right? Imagine a ball being hit back at missile pace. A bowler literally doesn't have protection, which is why it's interesting that Rishi Dhawan is wearing it now. So what is he trying to say? So does like the normal human face have like 2 blows that it can handle, and the first blow is like the warning. Once you have the first blow, you have to protect yourself until you heal fully. Like what's going on?
It's interesting you should mention that, because so I was listening to 81 All Out and Mukul Kesavan was on it, which is, by the way, a very, very interesting episode. Everybody should go listen to it. I think it's one of their latest episodes with Mukul Kesavan, where the first 2/3 he talks mostly about cricket and sort of his his favorites and his dalliances in cricket and so on. But one of the interesting points he was talking about was the introduction of helmets for batsmen back in that era. Because again, he comes at it from the viewpoint of Sunil Gavaskar, and Gavaskar was his favorite batsman and so on. And Gavaskar famously, didn't wear a helmet, and a lot of batsmen of that era, Viv Richards is another example, didn't really ever wear helmets. Yeah, Richie Richardson, Jimmy Amarnath, right? So, and one of the things he says was that, at that point, because there were no helmets, batsmen basically had to have a different and perhaps more sound technique to deal with those things, right? And he talks also about how hooking, which is associated with Jimmy Amarnath, for example. Apparently, Mohinder Amarnath said that, I had to figure out how to hook because otherwise that ball is coming for my head, right? And so we had to play these shots and so on. But yeah, no, Nitin, I think it's an interesting point now in this era where I think batsmen are protected enough and there are protocols in place, especially after, what happened with Phil Hughes and all that stuff. But yeah, for bowlers, it's not clear what the protocol should be. Yeah.
Like my question is, who's going to be the Sunny Gavaskar or the Viv Richards for bowlers saying, I'm not going to wear a helmet? Like when the rule does come in, like we need some,
Right.
Who's going to be that guy that bad guy who's be like, hey, who needs a helmet? Like I can do it.
Or the Ricky Ponting, right? Late into the 90s, Ponting used to face up to Alan Donald with a cap, man, when everyone else was wearing a helmet. You guys remember that, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the rules. I mean, I wouldn't say not the rules per se, but the way the game is played, it's different, right? Because all the actions come from the bowler's end, right? And like the batter is just reacting to it. So it makes sense for them to have a helmet on because like you have barely like a couple of seconds when the ball is not a couple of seconds, tenths of a second after the ball is bowled, right?
In fact, there was this incident a few years back when I was working at Cricinfo. I remember this. Keegan Meth was the bowler, and I think Zimbabwe were playing Bangladesh. This was in the last over of an ODI, and the batsman hit the ball right back at his face, and I think he lost all his teeth. Meth was the bowler. He had to be taken off, and it was extremely gory to watch. Right?
Yeah. When did wicketkeepers start wearing helmets? Was that always a thing?
I think Mongia was the pioneer.
I think Mongia, the Kumble, no?
Because of Kumble, exactly.
Yeah.
And mostly it was the up and down like Indian pitches. Basically, the bounce was so variable that because of Kumble, he kind of, when you stand up, you can't. Yeah.
But they still don't wear goggles, right? And Mark Boucher famously lost his eye to a bail.
Boucher, Sabah Karim's career came to an end because of I think it was a bail or the ball actually. I think Kumble was the bowler. Mongia himself, if you guys remember, the Eden Gardens Test match was his last game, and Dravid had to keep for the last few overs of that match. He was wearing helmets to Kumble, but he took Harbhajan.
I mean, I think in a sense you can see it as just it's a historical evolution of probabilities, right? So the batsman's head is the most probable to be in the path of the ball, right? Next up is either the wicketkeeper or the close-in fielders on either side, like Silly Point and forward shot. Like, Raman Lamba, unfortunately, famously, he died in a club game in Bangladesh because of that. And so now the next thing obviously is the bowler. It's basically whoever's right around the pitch, right? Like right in the vicinity of the pitch. So yeah, I think it's a natural evolution.
I think it's a matter of time, and clearly the gears exist, right? Like whatever Rishi Dhawan was wearing, it seems fairly comfortable because it's not going to restrict you as a bowler. Yeah, it looks odd, I agree, but I'm sure we'll get used to it.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, it's like, and the thing also is it's one of those things where it's easy to put it on and off, right? So he wears it only when he's bowling,
only when
he
he's
takes
bowling.
it off, right?
Yeah.
So
no, but this is also prevalent in like football, soccer, and even the NBA, like Cos was pointing out, right? Joel Embiid.
Like if you want to like really think about implementing it, are we going to be like I remember for a fact Fernando Torres, even though he had like a horrible season for Chelsea, not a season, a horrible time at Chelsea, the second he wore the mask after an injury to play the game, he was scoring goals, right? Yeah, and Joel Embiid is back from injury, he is killing it like in the NBA. So is it going to be like one of those things where like we'll compare post mask and pre mask numbers? Right, like we're living in like an era where we have to mask our face anyway. Like it's not like like it's.
I just think the fact that there hasn't been, and touch wood on that, there hasn't been a massive fatality or a tragedy associated with bowlers getting hit by batsmen. But if an incident of that sort were to happen, then I think you would see this gear sort of getting uptake. Until then, I don't see bowlers actually making this because they'd be like, why? I mean, it's just going to restrict me, and bowlers over the years have never had to wear this. With batting, it was very clear, right? Like you knew that batsmen were in mortal danger, like ball after ball. Back then, you needed them. They were literally crying for the technology.
Like lots of kudos to Rishi Dhawan for actually wearing it, right? Because obviously the first thing you notice is that it's odd, and all of us, the first reaction was like,
we all
why?
We all laughed about it. Yeah.
So pretty like very courageous thing of him to actually say screw it. I mean, I don't care what you think. It makes me comfortable, so I'm going to do it, right? Which is probably what happened with helmets also with batsmen, because it was all about bravado and machismo and manliness and stuff like that.
And who knows, it may be that 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, this becomes so normalized that kids even when they start coaching, which is how helmets sort of start now, little kids wear helmets and then their technique and everything is honed based on the fact that they're wearing that helmet. So maybe for bowlers also, right, it just becomes like second nature. It's like you don't think up twice about it. So
and Rishi Dhawan is bowling well,
right,
if you say so.
He is. I am watching the games.
Who does he play for? Gujarat,
Punjab.
Rising Pune, Mumbai Ankles. Sunrisers Stubbs. Make up team names now.
See, I told you, was 18 to 20 is happening now.
Business head.
Okay, finally, this is episode 18 of Bits and Pieces. We've gotten there in bits and pieces. Thank you for listening to us so far, if you are. And for that one fan, the Andre Russell of our KKR podcast. Thank you, and join us in the Fantasy League. And also, please share and subscribe. Other episodes are better than this one. I think it's fair to say. And the next episode is going to be a cracker.
Just like prior seasons of the IPL being better than the current one. But that's what they say about all seasons. So yeah, who knows? Maybe next week we'll figure out that this was a great episode.
Just give it time.
Post facto, like captaincy.
Please.
Like the DLF maximum, dude. Yeah.
Please help in the conservation of endangered winos, which is us.
Super.